Good morning one and all. Myself Parimala, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in Vignan's Foundation for Science, Technology and Research. Today, I am here to discuss about a concept from Computer Network subject called DNS. First see the concepts what we are going to discuss in the today's session. First we need to come with what is a DNS, why we need DNS, what are the components used here, nothing but the namespaces, resource records, name servers and the resolvers. Finally, we discuss how the DNS works. So these are the topics we are going to discuss in the today's session. This is one of the important concepts which we have in computer network subject. Firstly, come with the DNS. What is DNS? Let us see. DNS is nothing but which is called domain name system. In short form it is called DNS, which turns the domain names into IP address. What is an IP address? IP address is nothing but 192.168.10.0 255.0.1.0. Likewise, we have the IP addresses. Usually, we have different types of IP address classes. Nothing but class A, class B address, class C address, class D address. Likewise, different types of categories we have. So, based on the range, we will move to the respective class. That we call as IP address, which is having 4 parts. That 4 parts are differentiated with the 3 points. So, 198.16.0.1. Likewise, the IP address will be differentiated. So, we have different types of web pages, different types of sites we'll use, like a Google, Gmail, Facebook, etc. Each one is having a respective IP address. Whenever we are trying to connect with that, we never give the IP address of it. We use simply their name. We give only gmail.com, google.com, likewise only we'll type. Why not we are moving to the IP address? Each one is having the respective IP address. Why not we are using the IP means each and every page, if we simply use the Google, let us take an example of the Google. In that Google, we have different lakhs, crores of the web pages we have in that. Each web page is having a specific IP address. Is it possible to remember those many IP addresses by a human being? May not. So, this is difficult to remember. That's why instead of using the IP address, simply here we use the name. That name itself is called as DNS, nothing but domain name system. Instead of calling a web page or instead of accessing a web page with the respective IP address is difficult to access. Because of that, we are using a name. So, each IP address is assigned with a specific name called DNS. So, whenever we type there simply the google.com or gmail.com or something else, that will be turned into its IP address. Right? We'll give the content what we want, that google.com. Simply we'll type that in the URL bar. The server itself, it converts that into an IP address form. So, based on the IP address, what is that? That will be connected to the respective server. That is DNS. Here, which is nothing but a client server application. Client and server. Just the user who is accessing the specific web page becomes the client. All we comes under the clients only. Whatever I need, simply I type that in that URL bar, I can access it. Who will give that page to us? Where the page will be located? Everything will be taken care by the server. So, this is the relation of client and server, that is nothing but a client server application. That maps the host name into their corresponding IP address. Just we discussed. So, simply we'll type it as google.com or gmail.com or something else we'll give. When we give likewise from the client side, that will be mapped to the host name into the corresponding IP address. Based on the content what is given by the client, the server itself identifies which IP we are going to access, and the DNS will be converted into that respective IP address. Based on that IP address, every device will be connected to the internet and with their own IP addresses, which is used by the other devices and located at other devices, right? So, from our system, we'll give the name. That name we are calling as DNS, domain name system. That will be converted into the IP by the server, and based on the IP address, it will be connected to the respective server by the based on their IP addresses. And then mapping of the host name to their corresponding IP is called name resolution or name translation, also called name mapping or address resolution. Different names we have here. What we are doing here, nothing but we give as a name gmail.com, facebook.com. So, we give that in form of a name, nothing but DNS form. That name form is called as DNS form. The name will be mapped to or connected to the respective IP address. It is connected to the corresponding IP address. So, the conversion of the name form to the IP address form is called name resolution or name translation or name mapping, also called name resolution. Okay. So, conversion of the name form to the IP form. Why we need to convert there means, as we remember the names, it is difficult for us to remember the IP address of by each person. But coming to the system point of view, there the network can be identified, the machine can be identified based on the IP address only. That's why the name form we use to connect to a respective server or respective web page, the server will convert that name form into IP form, and IP will be connected to the respective server, and the page will be displayed to the user finally. So, the conversion of this name form to the IP form is called these many. So, name resolution, name translation, name mapping and address resolutions. Why we need DNS? Okay, good. Till now we discussed what is a DNS, how it works, right? Now we need to discuss about why we need it. What is the need of it? When we see this DNS, as the system grew, host.txt had a problem with a scalability, nothing but traffic and load. Means no limit to the size of the database and no limit to the number of queries. What is this scalability? Usually, whenever we are connecting like this, whenever we are connecting with the DNS, the need of the DNS is the scalability issue will face. The scalability is nothing but take a respective page, assume lakhs and crores of web pages we have in a website. One page may be accessed by multiple users, right? One page may be accessed by multiple users, not only by one person at one time. At same time, multiple, may not be one, may not be two, may not be 10, may not be 100, lakhs and crores of people may try to access the same web page. So, that page should be accessible to all the users whoever are trying to access. That is called scalability. At this time, only 10 people may trying to access. At the next minute, 100 people may trying to access. and the next minute only 2 people may trying to access. So there is a different number. At one time it is 10, at other time it is 100, at other time it is only 2. Whoever the users and how much number it is, that page should be accessible to all the users without any disturbance. That is called scalability. So traffic load. Traffic and load. What is this traffic and load? Load in the sense, if the same page is going to access by only 2. So only 2 people are accessing, so we can get it. That page can be accessed fastly by the 2 users. Assume if the same page is going to access by 100 people. So how much time it takes? Is it become fast? No. So there the count is increased. Multiple people are using. So automatically the load of that increases. But even though the traffic is increased and the load is increased, the page should be accessible to all the users. That we call as scalability. And the next parameter is nothing but reliability. Data is replicated. So data from the master is copied into the multiple slaves. Multiple slaves in the sense, a page or a Wikipedia page we may have, or one web page we may have in the website. That page can be downloaded. Right, we may get some PPTs on the PDF documents or some images or something else. So many we can get from the website. That page can be accessed, can be downloaded by multiple users. That is called reliability. If multiple people are using that, if multiple people are downloading that, that copy will be accessible to the remaining also. It doesn't delete. See, one page we have in the website. I want to download that. Assume if I download it, can that page will be accessed to another? Can we get the same page in the website? Yes, we can. Because it doesn't keep a master copy accessible to all the clients. The master copy of the page can be stored in the master server, and the copies of that, nothing but the replicated copies of that can be given to the slaves. That is called reliability. Dynamicity. Database can be updated dynamically. Yes, nowadays everything is a dynamic one. So whatever the update we have, that should be applicable to all. The website and the web pages, everything should be updated. That we call dynamicity. So dynamically, the website should be a dynamic. Name collisions. Avoid the same names. Name collision. Collision, nothing but having same name to more than one is called collision. Name collisions. If you see that multiple web pages we have, but name of one page is different from the name of the other page. Can we store more than one with the same name? No. So, in order to save the web pages, in order to access it, we should avoid the collisions, nothing but called as name collisions. We need to avoid the collision. Consistency. It should be consistent. Right. So, because of all these features, we need a DNS. Because the need of this DNS is nothing but it should be scalable, reliable, dynamic and consistent. Because of these features, we are moving to DNS instead of an IP address. Why we are using a name instead of an IP? Because IP addresses are difficult to remember. Just we discussed the IP address may be in the form of 192.168.10.10 and 192.168.0.1. Right. See the difference between these. So this is one IP address, this is the second IP address. These two are the IP addresses only. For what purpose this IP will use? For what purpose we use this IP address? Is we know? Okay, good. If only these two we are accessing, then we can remember, oh, this is for posting the attendance. Okay. If you see that this is the IP address for posting the attendance and this is the IP address for accessing the local server. If only these two are accessed by the user, the two IP addresses can be easily identified, can easily remember by each user. But we never limit to these two IP addresses. We may access different websites, different web pages we may access. Right? Is it possible to remember those many? Assume here only these two we have, so easily we can write it. But I am accessing daily, I may access 25 to 100 web pages. Minimum of 25 web pages I access and maximum of 100. Is it possible to remember the 25 to 100 IP addresses by me? No, it is very difficult. For that purpose, we remember that in form of name. Right. What web pages will use? Google, google.com, facebook.com. Okay. gmail.com, yahoomail.com. Likewise, so many we have, right? Can we remember the IP address of each one? So many Wikipedia pages we may access, so many slideshows we can access. So it is difficult for us to remember. So that is one of the important benefit, that is the important need of the DNS. One of the important need is name. IP address is difficult to remember. So the IP address may change because if the server is busy or there is no space in the server, they simply change that web page into another server. So based on the movement of the web page from one server to another server, the IP address may change. Now the IP, see here we discussed 192.168.10.10. Now we are using that for posting the attendance. If my server is not having that much storage capacity to maintain that, I may move that to another server. Right. Whenever I move this to another server, the IP address that may change. So it may change to 192.168.1.2. Likewise, the IP address may change. So if the page, the attendance portal page locates in that server itself, the IP address that is considered as this. When I move that page to another server, it is going to change. So it is difficult for us to remember. So it changes. IP address may change based on the storage capacity and other requirements. So when it changes, every time remembering of that IP address is very difficult for us. And the problem is nothing but the network only understands the numerical address. Right. Okay, good. IP address may change. It is difficult for us to remember. That IP address can only understand by the network. For suppose if it is simply like this 192.168.10.10, can you say which server we are accessing or which page we are accessing? By seeing that IP address, is it possible to identify which server we are accessing and which page we are going to accessing? No. But coming to here, google.com and facebook.com and all, by seeing this name itself, we can tell, okay, now we are accessing a Google server. So that is one of the difficulty with the IP address. The IP address can only understand by the network, not by the humans. For that, we are using the alphanumeric names, refers to as the host. So add a distributed and hierarchical product which is for accessing, right? And this is for accessing of the content. So solution for this IP address is, it is a alphanumeric name which refers to as the host, and then which will be distributed to all the users, and which is in the hierarchical protocol form called as a DNS, hierarchical form. Hierarchical form is from our client system will type the DNS, the name of that, from here to it move level by level, and finally it connected to the server. That's why it is called as hierarchical protocol. Okay. What is DNS namespace? DNS namespace is nothing but, what is the name space? Namespace is the abstract space or the collision of all possible addresses, which is the combination of, or which is the collection of all possible addresses, names and their identifiers. Right? So, for suppose if you are accessing, if you type a Google, if you type a Gmail, when your Gmail account is logged in, from that account itself, we can move to a Google Drive. We can move to Google Photos. We can access Google. We can move to Gmail Access, Gmail Photos, Gmail Drive, Google Drive, right? Google Maps, everything we can access, but all these are linked to a single account, right? So, nothing but the collection of all possible addresses, all possible names, all possible identifiers. So, if I open a Gmail account, my Gmail account is logged in. Now it is running. So, from that account itself, I can access a Google Drive, which is having one specific IP address. And I can also access a Google Photos, Google Meet. So, likewise, different are connected together, and all these we are accessing with the same mail ID. So, that is nothing but a namespace. All these are located under the same name. So, all these are related to my mail ID. What photos I stored in my Gmail, that can only be accessed by me. What content I stored in the drive, that can be accessed by me. Right? Whatever the data I stored in that can be accessed. Means all these we are grouping under the same, that is nothing but our mail ID. So, all these are connected to Google Drive, Map, Photos, Google Contacts. All these are connected to one specific mail ID. That is nothing but namespace. So, the internet is divided into more than 200 top level domains. More than 200 top level domains. Now, we will see about what are the top level domains and all. What is a domain? It is a subtree of the domain name. For example, our namespace is nothing but our mail ID. Our mail ID is nothing but our namespace. What are the subdomains we have in that? The domains are nothing but Drive, Photos, Contacts and remaining all. All these comes under the domain. So, which is nothing but namespace is nothing but at the top level, and it may have different subdomains. That subdomains are with the different names which can be accessed or consist of the group of hosts which are under the administrative control. So, when we can access all these photos, contacts and all, whenever our mail ID is logged in, whenever we log in into our mail account, then only we can access the content what we have in our mail ID. So, all these are under control of our mail ID. That is nothing but a domain. Each domain is the subdomain into another subdomain. The subdomains may have another subdomains in it. The leaves are represent as a subdomain which doesn't have any subdomains to it. It is nothing but a leaf. Leaf doesn't have any subdomains to it. it may contain a single host. Leaf domains may have a single host which are represent a company with the thousands of hosts. Leaf is connected to a single host which that host may have a thousands of sub-hosts into it. See the example structure of this DNS namespace. Here, this is the root domain. That root domain is denoted with a dot. This is denoted with dot. And the top level domains are edu, com, fi. What is edu? Edu represents education. Com for commercial. Likewise, we have so many top level domains. As we have seen in the previous slide, approximately we have 200 top level domains. Nothing but not only these three, com, edu and something. We have .in for India, right? .uk for United Kingdoms. Likewise, so many we have. So all these comes under the top level domains. .gov for government, right? All these comes under the top level. In that we have some subdomains. All these are divided into different categories like this, which comes under second level, subdomains and so on. Finally, the machine in the sense client. So the subdomains, the host, what are in this comes under the second level. So colorado.edu, berkeley.edu, likewise. Similarly, the next subdomain to that is nothing but cs.colorado.edu. Right? Likewise, the tree will move from bottom to top. So here the user, the machine, nothing but the client will pass an address. So from here it moves to the respective subdomain, from this subdomain to the second level domain, and the second level domain to the top level to the root domain. Likewise, the hierarchy will move from bottom to top. See one more example to that. Here the dot represents the empty string which will be at the top, which may have different subdomains like this. Not only these few. Likewise, we have 200 or more than 200 domains we have at the top level. Example, edu, just we discussed. Edu means education. If you see the previous slide, what we have here, see, at root we have only one dot, and at the top level edu, and in the second level Colorado, and at the subdomain cs and the machine's anchor. So how it moves? When we are moving here, this will be considered as anchor dot cs dot colorado dot edu dot. So this dot will come to here, right? And coming to here, colorado dot edu dot. The same we are seeing in the next slide. See, dot is at the root. When see the subdomain of that edu dot we can see here, means which is the top level domain of that main domain, the root domain. That's why it is with the dot here after edu. Similarly, net dot org dot for organizations, com dot for commercial, mil dot, gov dot for government. Similarly, biz dot. So likewise, how many top level domains are there? All these are the domain subdomains to that root domain, though that is represented by keeping a dot at the end of that top level domain like edu dot, net dot and so on. And for example, here we consider only one level, one hierarchy we are seeing right now. See the com dot. So in that com dot, which is having omnisec.com. Omnisec is nothing but one of the subdomain to com. So the name of this is the subdomain, second level domain. So which is a subdomain to com, that's why, which is the subdomain to the root, so keep dot at end. That's why here we got this as omnisecu.com dot, and here it is having some more in it, nothing but this is tech, this is mail, and this is www. So tech is nothing but the subdomain to this. So tech dot omnisecu.com, and here the mail.omnisecu.com, and here www.omnisecu.com. And if you see one more here in the tech, we are accessing one more web page, nothing but the host is accessing that web page, that is PC15. So that PC15 is accessing like this. So it is written as pc15.tech.omnisec.com. Likewise, it comes from top to level. When we type this pc15 and something, the DNS, it will move from like this. Likewise, the namespace and the name servers are located. Likewise, so many domains we have, just we discussed. Com for commercial, EDU for education, government for internet, international, INT for the international organizations, MIL for military, net for network providers. Likewise, different types of domains we have, each is having subdomains in it. Now, what is a resource record? DNS resource record. So, this resource record is the basic data element which we have in DNS. This is, it allows the DNS servers to convert the name request to IP address. The resource records are mainly used for converting the DNS to IP address. Just we discussed. The client will give it in the form of DNS, name form will give, google.com, gmail.com, yahoo.com, likewise we give. That will be converted into IP address. Who convert it? On what basis it converts? That will be taken care by this resource records. So, it maintains the recording. Record it maintains. What record it maintains? What are the different DNS names we have? What is the respect to IP address of it? Likewise, it maintains a record of all the Google names, all the DNS names with their respect to IP address. Likewise, based on the category, based on the type of the DNS and the IP address, it is having different records. Those we call as resource record. So, DNS resource record is mainly for converting the name in request into IP address form. For that, here we use the resource record, which specifies. What it specifies? The record where the internet and the server is located, where that server is located or where that page is located, how it will be connected to that, the client, how the client can be connected to that. That will be specified by this resource records. In these domain servers, different record types are used for different purpose. Not only a specific one, as we have seen, different namespaces also we have like .com, .gov, .in, .mil, likewise different we have. Similarly, based on the need, based on the purpose, there we have different types of records for maintaining the information correctly. So, some of those are A is nothing but one of the record, resource record. MX is another form. AAAA, 4A, this is another record. CNAME, SOA, SRV, PTR. These are some of the resource records. Now say about one by one. This is the frame format of the DNS resource records. Firstly, the domain name. What is the domain name? Which type it is and which domain class it is. Class is nothing but here just we discuss different types of IP address classes we have. Class A address, class B, class C, class D, like which different classes of IP addresses we have. So what domain we are using, what is the DNS of it, what is the name of that respective domain, and what type of the domain it is. Is it comes under the gov.in or .gov.in or .com or .edu or something. So what is that domain type, which type of the domain it is, and what is their respective domain class. Is it class A, class B or class A or something else. Time to live, how much time that can be inactive. Data length, resource data length, what is the length of that, and the data. So suppose if you are accessing the web page, how much length it is? Is it 1 page or 10 page data or 5 page data or something. So here it represents the data length and here we mention the data. If you have the 5 pages, the length is considered as 5 pages. So here the 5 page content will be displayed. Likewise, the resource record maintains the data in it. This is the frame format of DNS resource records. Domain name. Here we are seeing the frame format types here. Domain name. So what is the, it is a variable length field which is for maintaining the type of the domain, which type of the domain it is, that will be considered in the domain name. Domain type. So type of the field, which type of the domain it is, that will be mentioned in domain type. Domain class. This field is same as the query class with the question record, which comes under which domain class. And then time to live. It is a 32-bit field. How much time the record will be valid, that will be represented by time to live. Followed by the resource data length. It is a 16-bit field which maintains the length of the data and the resource data. So what data we are accessing, that will be maintained by the resource data. It is also a variable length field. Variable length, because we may access a 5 page of the data or 1 page data or 1 line of data, we don't know it. So based on the request what we are doing, based on the content what we are going to access, the length of this may depend. Resource data. A number, it's nothing written in the octal form it is, which is for based on the IPv4 and IPv6 address, it will change. So this resource data may be a number form, a domain name and offset pointer followed by the character string. Any type of the data can be used by this. So this is the frame format of resource records. See the first type, A. This is one type of resource record. A host name to an IP address, which is for converting, resource record itself is for converting the namespace to IP address. So if we see here the A type, there we have seen which type of the record it is, which data domain type we have seen there. So which type of domain means, is it A type or AAA type or CNS type, or which type it is, that we need to be mentioned there. So assume here the domain name is, the host name is domain.com and which comes under the A type and the data may be in this form. 123.456.789.10. If it is like this from www.domain.com, which also comes under A, so both the IP address of the both is same. whether we access like this or like this. Means when we are accessing the Gmail, simply we can type it as gmail.com. Otherwise, we can also type it as www.gmail.com. But when we access with gmail.com or www.gmail.com, both gives the same page to us. Yes or no? So, even though we mention there the www in front of the Gmail or without that also, both gives the same result to us. Such type of data will be maintained by the record called A type. The resource record A type. CNAME, canonical form of the record, canonical form CNAME. So, this record maps alias name to another host name, alias name. Instead of accessing with a direct name, alias name will be used by the client to access that respective page. Such alias names will be maintained by CNAME record. CNAME resource record means canonical name. That record maintains the alias websites and alias DNS names. Some of the websites may use the alias names. Alternate name, alias name is alternate name. Either they can access with this name, can also access with another name. Right. So that alternate names and the information about that will be maintained by CNAME. But coming to A, this is not canonical. It is a direct one. Another record is MX record. MX means mail exchange. Mail exchange resource record, which specifies the host name that will process the incoming email for a domain. This MX mail exchanger. The name it specifies, exchanger. Which exchanges? Mail. So, when we are sending an email to a resource or any mail to somebody else, or they sent a mail to us, so a mail has been exchanged between the two clients. So that information will be maintained by that MX mail exchanger, will transfer the data from one mail ID to another mail ID for exchanging. It processes the incoming email for a domain. So, maildomain.com, which is having both the priorities, priority 1 and priority 2. In this MS record, it defines the mail server for a particular domain. So, which domain mail server we are exchanging, which server domain it is, that can be identified by this mail exchanger. It holds the name of the host and their priorities. Based on that, it delivers that mail to the respective users. For example, itcollege.ee mx10 mail. So likewise here it identifies. So mx means mail exchanger we have. Nothing but a mail it is going to exchange. So which is having the priority of 10. And to this we want to send the data. Likewise it maintains the record. Right. Nothing but it is a mail exchange. MX represents the mail exchange, and this request is having the priority of 10, which is having a mail with the ID of itcollege.ee. Okay. So in this itcollege.ee is the domain which defines the host mail with a priority of 10 is a mail server. Okay. A record for the mail. This is nothing but NV note of the course. What we need from a record for a mail. So likewise the mail exchanger MX record will maintain the information about that data. Next, PTR record, which is opposite to A. PTR record is an opposite form to A record. While A record is pointing the domain name with an IP address, the PT record reserves the IP address to the domain name. How resource record A works and how the PTR record works. If we see the A record, that A record converts the IP address into domain name. So, right? It converts the domain name into IP address. Sorry. Record A, resource record A converts the domain name into IP address. And this PTR record converts the IP address into domains. So, these are the vice versa. One is from name to the IP and another one is IP to name. So, A record from name to IP. PTR record from IP to name. PTR records of the external IP secures usually under the ISP, Internet Service Providers, which will be with Internet Service Providers. So, we can also create our own PTR record for conversion of the IP to DNS namespace. Next one is TXT record and DS record. TXT, nothing but text record. The short form of that we will represent as TXT, which is the type of the resource record in the data DNS used to provide the ability to associate the data. Unformatted text data will be connected by that TXT record. So, this TXT records which will be implemented by the DNS as like this, with for anti-spams, the key identifications for the messages and all. For all these purpose, the TXT record will be used. And these are some of the resource records what we discussed till now. SOA, start of authority. A record, so IP address of the host, which is for converting the IP address, host name to IP address it converts. MX for the mail exchange. NS for the name servers. CNAME, canonical name, which is having the alias name. PTR for pointing, which is opposite to A record. These two or the vice versa. This is for converting name to IP address and this is for IP address to name. Hinfo, host description it provides to us. This is for text. Likewise, some of the resource records we discussed till now, right? Like not only this, so many other records also we have. The resource records in DNS. Each resource record is for maintaining the data in a specific form. Coming to the next, DNS name servers. What is a name? Server. Server. What is a server? Which maintains the information. Right? So, see different types of servers we have, which will be maintained at all the levels. Nothing but what are the levels we have seen in that, which is first one is nothing but a root level, second one is the top level, second level, and likewise we have. If you see this dot represents the top level. For example, here these many levels we discussed. This is the dot level, nothing but the top level, root level it is, and all this comes under the, this is root level, and all this comes under top level. This comes under second level and this comes under third level. Finally, it comes under machine, nothing but the client side. Okay. Likewise, these many we have. .int for international. .com, .edu, gov, in. Likewise, these many subdomains we have. Not only this, so many we have. In all these, these are considered under the generic form and these are considered under countries form. So JP for Japanese, this is for US likewise. And if you see the com for the commercial, sun.com, and in that sun.com we have one more level called ENG. So eng.sun.com. If you see EDU, in this EDU, which is having one specific university called LA University. So la.edu. And LA is having one specific web page called CS. So cs.la.edu. And coming to this, that CS is having one more subdomain to that. That is AI. So ai.cs.la.edu. And that AI having one specific page called robot. So robo.ai.cs.la.edu. Likewise, it comes. Similarly, coming to this ORG for organizations. So different types of organization, IEEE.org, acm.org, which is having some subdomains into that. Likewise, the pages will be accessed by the client and the domain will be connected and converted into like IP in this form. Then domain, just we discuss, nothing but which is the subtree of the main domain namespace. Root node is always it is empty and which is divided into the subdomains likewise. Okay, here corp.microsoft.com. So this comes under, this dot comes under the root, which comes under the top level, second level and the domain. So this is nothing but a single node, a leaf node which doesn't have any subdomain to it, and this is a subtree of it, and this is a complete tree. Root servers the same, likewise it access. So maps.google.com server. So root server this one, from com we are accessing Google, from Google we are accessing maps. So maps.google.com server dot. How does the DNS works? Nothing but resolution. And the beginning of the slides we discuss resolution, name resolution, name translations. What is this resolution and what is this translation? Conversion of IP address to, conversion of the name to the IP address is called resolution or name translation. So we give we search for the data in the form of name. With the name only we will start searching, or with name only we will access the web pages. That name is converted into the IP form, IP address form. The conversion of this name form to the IP address form is called as the resolution. So nothing but DNS resolution. See for example, www.example.com. Likewise, we will start searching. These only will type www.example.com. That resolvers or the resolution converts, this name form to the IP address form as 192.168.1.1. That is the IP address of that respective name form, www.example.com. So each device on the internet, the address or the necessary address will be identified and which is converted into a particular IP address and which is connected to a particular home. Nothing but to the respective server it get connected. So the user want to load a specific web page from that, it connected to a browser. Which browser we are connecting here? Com browser. In that com browser, we are accessing the subdomain or the page called example page. So example.com and get the machine friendly with that user, and the specific web page will be accessed by the user. Okay, we'll give just in the form of like this name from www.example.com. So the resolver itself, it identifies to which server we are connecting, what is the respective IP address of it, that will be identified there, and the respective page will be displayed to the client. See here. Here this user, the client is requesting this. Then it connected to the DNS server. This is connected to the DNS server, and then that server will be connected to the root DNS server. After that, it give a response to this local server. From here, it get a reply, and then it will be connected to the top level domain. This level domain will give a response to the local server, and then from here the page will be accessed by the user. Okay. So likewise it get access, and the local server will give the information to the client page. Okay. First, from the client system, the client will give a request in the DNS form, and that will be received by the local server. This local server will be connected to the root server. The root server will tell that, so this is the web page can be available in so and so top level domain. Likewise, it give a response to this local server with the support of, or with that information, the local server will be connected to the top level domain to access the information or the web page, and that respective data will be connected to it, and with that support connected to the authorized server. When it give a permission to access, then the local server will get a permission to access, and the permission will be given to the client to access the respective web page. Likewise, the process will work. Right? The same what we have seen, that the local server will get overloaded. To avoid that, if you see the previous one, that the local server what we have there, it get loaded because it is getting the response from the DNS, the root, and from the authorized servers, from the top level domain, from all those, the local server, the DNS local server will get overloaded. To avoid that, here that will be changed like this. First, the client will send the request to the local server. The local server will be connected to the root, and from the root, this will be connected to the top level domain directly, and this top level domain will be connected to the authorized DNS server to get the information or the web page. Likewise, the data will be accessed by the client. So it give the response to this, the reply of this, and it give a acknowledgement to that. From there, it give an information to the local server, from the local server to the client. Okay. First, it give the request to this. The request will move to the root to the top level to the authorized server. So again, in the same structure, the response will come back. So from here to the top level to root to the local server to the client again. So if this is remodeled like this, the workload of the load of this DNS local server get reduced. What is the DNS name? Server. Previously we discussed that DNS name spaces. Now it is DNS server. We know server itself having a much storage capacity to store the information regarding everything. So master copy of that information will be maintained by the servers. Whatever the data is requested by the client, a copy of that, the slave will be given to the clients or to the subdomains. So that is a server. So usually it acts like a database which is for storing of the content. It like a phone book it acts. For what data we are accessing, it search for the data in the respective server, and the respective page will be given to the client which one is requested by him. So the IP address, based on that, it detects and directed to the device connected to the respective device, and the correct place to access the site is can also be accessed. So which data we want to access and where that is, from which device we want to access. So it identifies that based on the IP address what is provided, and that respective data can be given to the client. It is for finding the correct IP address to the browsers. Based on that, the content will be delivered to the users, that we call as content delivery network. The content will be delivered to the users through the network. That's why the DNS server is for giving the information to the clients through the network. It is called CDN. Once it was completed, the information on that website can be accessed by the users. Once the process is completed, then it gives permission to access that web page to the client. It starts the process by finding the IP address and it gets connected to the website using URL, Uniform Resource Locator. With the support of the URL what we are providing, it converted that into the IP address. Based on the IP address, that get connected to the specific server. From that server, it give a permission to access a specific web page to the client. Right? Different zones they may have. Yes, we discussed .com, .edu, .ml, .mil, .net. Different types of servers we have. Government servers, .gov. .com, commercial servers. Likewise, different types of servers are available there. It will be connected to the respective servers. From there, the authority server is also there to give a permission to access. So, the name servers that load the complete zone. Which comes under which zone? Nothing but, is it a top level or the second level or the root level? Which level domain it is, that need to be identified, and authoritative server will be connected to that. Usually one name will be used for one specific server. It ensures the redundancy and spread the load of that. See, a single name server may be authoritative for many zones. Nothing but .com. Google.com, Yahoo.com. If you see there, Gmail.com. So, com is nothing but the main server which is authoritative to so many subdomains, so many subservers. So, that may be divided into different zones. So, the name server stores the information about the namespaces called zones. How many zones we have? In the previous slides we have seen. So, that is nothing but one specific zone. So, the information of that can be maintained by the servers. The name servers that load a complete zone are said to have an authority. Or be authoritative for that respective zone. Usually more than one name servers are authoritative for the same zone. See, it ensures the redundancy and the spreads of the load. Okay. Likewise, this is nothing but one server. The IP address of that is 128.8.10.5. This serves the data for both zones. That is the common IP for accessing the information from about these two. So, 128.8.10.5, this is the local server which is connected to this specific database, and that will be connected to, or the information will be given to the client clearly. And similarly, 202.12.28.129. So, the data which is requested by the user can get the information from the respective websites. Similarly, here also, this is the website. It is asking the data from isc.org. So, it can access the data from here. if we see this, this is the local server accessing two different servers like this. Here it is accessing nominum.com and isc.org. So these are the two IP addresses. One is accessing nominum.com and isc.org.zone. So this is the local server and these are the different clients. So many clients are connected to a server. So which server or which client is requesting which server or which database, the server will be connected to that respective databases and the information will be given back to the respective clients. Likewise, the name servers and the zones get activated. So types of the name servers are nothing but two types of the servers we have. One is the authoritative server which maintains the data, master copy as well as the slave copy. Usually the master copy will be maintained by the server, right, and the slave copy will be given to the clients. The master copy can be edited by the master, the main server only. Slave copy cannot be modified, just the user can access. And the next one is caching, which stores the data obtained from an authoritative servers. Cache, which is for copying the content. We know cache memory for maintaining the data. So caching is nothing but the content what we requested or what we accessed from the respective server can be maintained as a copy in a respective local servers called caching. The most common name servers implementation by BIND combines. So authoritative data, cache data and agent. This is the process of what we have here. This is the master and the zone slaves and this is responses, get the response from the respective name servers and this is the agent. So the agent will give a query, that query will be given to the cache and in this cache it search whether the query is available here or not. Okay, here the client, nothing but the agent, want to get some information or want to access some web page or something else, then the agent will send a request in form of DNS that will be accessed by the cache. Here it search, the local server will search for that in the cache data. If it is available, then directly the accessing permission will be given to the agent to access it. If that page is not available in the cache, then the request will go to the authoritative data. Here it search and it get the data and the copy of that will be stored in the cache. And then the cache will give a permission to the client to access the information. Likewise, the agent, the cache first checks whether the requested data is available or not. And then it get the data from it and will be given to the next. See, from the disk it access, the master server is there and it transfers the information to the authoritative and then it gets the information. So authoritative data. Resolver we have to convert from one form to another form. Usually the data will be given in the form of a query. So the query, the request will be converted and the response will be given to that authoritative. Okay. When we have the other name servers, same, resolver is there, query is there. The query will be given by the agent, the client will give the query and the name server will get active here and the name server, the agent is connected to the name server, which one we are going to access. From there, the response it get by the cache, the response will be given to the cache and the cache will directly connect it to the resolver to get the information. After that, the content will be given to the client to access. Resolvers, just we discussed, resolver which is for converting the data. What data it converts? the IP address to name to IP address form. So we give the data, we give in form of a name, google.com, yahoo.com. So likewise we give. So converting the name form to the IP form is called resolver. Name resolution. For converting the name form to the IP form to find the data in the namespaces. So by converting that into a IP form, from there we need to get the information. So which is for getting the data, to find the data. And then which finds information anywhere in the namespaces. Name servers only need the name and the IP address. So by seeing the name what we have given, the name resolutions or the namespaces, the DNS resolutions identifies which type of server we are going to access, where our requested page will be located, and it gives the permission to access the data from the respective servers. That is name resolution. DNS query will be given. It identifies under which zone it is it in which record and where it is it in or in A record, where and which type it is. See for example, www.nominum.com. This we are going to access. So it identifies where it is, in which server it is. So this name form is converted into the IP form and it identifies. So it is nothing but comes under which level and comes under which level, comes under which level. Likewise, it identifies the level by level, zone by zone, and it connected to the main directory and data get collected. A name server for receiving a query from the resolver and look for the answer. It search for the answer. What we are requesting, what it need to search. If the answer is not in the cache, first it search for the data in the cache. If available, it give a permission directly to access the content. If not in a cache, then it should connect to the server, authoritative server, and it should get the information from the respective servers, and a copy of that will be maintained by the cache itself. This is the example structure. So first the client will give the data as a query to the local server, and the local server will pass the same query to the root server, and the root server will give the information like this, so which is nothing but edu, a top level domain, and this will connect it to the edu now. This is the top level, and the same query will be passed it to the edu educational server, and here it identifies that it is nothing but Washington second level domain, and it give that this is the Washington domain to this local server, and this local server will give that as a query to the Washington server. From here, which one it is accessing? This one. So CS robot.cs. So CS will give a response to it, and it connected to that respective server. The query will be given to this, and it gives robot.cs.washington.edu server. Finally, this specific name server is connected to this local server, and the local server will give the response to the client. Okay. Likewise, the DNS works, the DNS resolver works. Thank you.